What's up guys, Chris VA Travels, and this is take 2 of my intro. Lost the footage from earlier. Anyway, I'm out here in Hardy, Virginia. I'm gonna visit the birthplace of Booker T. Washington. And just to let you know, Hardy, Virginia, that's in Franklin County, about 20 miles southeast of Roanoke, kind of near Smith Mountain Lake. And before I get started, I want to give a quick shout out to Rick Krynick, new Patreon subscriber. Thank you, sir. Definitely helping me out with these gas prices. Yeah, so, and yeah, it's a national park, so it's free, open every day except for Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, open from 9 until 5. And let you know, this is the former Burroughs Farm. All right, pretty nice bust. Booker Taliaferro, Washington, and he was born just Booker. He adopted his stepfather's last name later in life. And Taliaferro, pronounced Tolliver, that's one of Virginia's big first families, and I don't know his relation to them. So, yeah, and to let you know, inside there's like a little 13-minute film. There's a little museum you can walk through, and then there's a reconstruction of his birth cabin. And a bunch of outbuildings back there to look at. And there's a young Booker T. And right here his famous biography, written, published around 1900. And there's what he's most famous for, the Tuskegee Institute down in Alabama. And yeah, kind of crazy, a flyer for a slave auction, Maryland and Virginia Negroes. Kind of crazy purchase, a field hand, house servants, cooks, seamstresses. All right, so.
He and his students built Tuskegee from the ground up, brick by brick.
All right, over to the left is where you watch the movie, and about to take a walk through the museum. Born here and freed here, and this is a bronze sculpture back from 1974. And of course, going through Booker's timeline, like I say, April 1856, born here. His mother Jane, brother John Henry, sister Amanda. And it was believed he was born in this log cabin, which was also the kitchen. His mother was the cook. That's the Burroughs family. And there's a lot of interactive things here. And one of Booker's jobs as a child was to fan the flies away from the dinner table.
Potatoes, mashed potatoes, corn, ham, salad.
And then another was to carry corn to the corn crib, to the mill. And then also bring water out to the people working in the fields. Knife used to cut tobacco stalks. And yeah, we're out here in the Piedmont area, getting close to the mountains. So yeah, slavery was popular out here, so just smaller plantations in this area. There were about 10 slaves that the Burroughs owned. And this is what would have been the big house, the Burroughs family house. And yeah, I always dreamed of education. I guess it was kind of the forbidden fruit. He would see the white children in the field house and look through the window and wanting to go inside. And of course, it was illegal at that time to educate slaves. I guess unless you were a house slave or a preacher or something, you didn't know how to read or write. And this is the Blueback Speller, the popular kind of dictionary. From that era. This is a picture from the Tuskegee Institute. And this picture, this sculpting, is from when, just after the Civil War, when the news was read of emancipation to the slaves here at the plantation. And this is supposed to be Booker's mother explaining to him what's going on. And yeah, his famous speech at the Atlanta Cotton States expedition, that's kind of what made him a star. He was the first time that an African American was to speak on stage in the South with whites. And he gave a really charismatic, uplifting speech looking for unity. It was very controversial because he kind of was okay with segregation, which a lot of people kind of called him an Uncle Tom a little bit. But yeah, and Andrew Carnegie was a big donor. He donated a lot to the Tuskegee Institute. So, all right, I'm gonna go take a left. All right, so an overview of the grounds, the plantation, and yeah, kitchen cabin, big house site, smokehouse, blacksmith shop, all the usual stuff. And as I said, that's the big house. And take my tour. Just talks about growing tobacco, and tobacco was the only crop grown here on the plantation. And yeah, the tobacco industry wasn't what it used to be. And one of the worst parts about Virginia is that the tobacco need for slaves wasn't what it used to be. So probably one of the worst parts of slavery was actually the breakup of the family, because it became a popular thing in Virginia to sell your slaves down south because of the big cotton explosion down there in the deep south. So yeah, that became a big thing after freedom was locating family members. All right, so I see a horse down there, and yeah, looks like some other animals. And to give you a little bit about Booker, freed, of course, 1865. His family then left and moved to West Virginia to live with family members. He worked in a salt mill, so some pretty intense labor. While working there, he had overheard some workers talking about a school out in Hampton here in Virginia, a trade school for African Americans. And yeah, so he made it a mission to make his way out there. So eventually he walked most of the 400 miles to Hampton to attend the school. So all right, I'll just take a quick walk over here. A big garden, and looks like it's being kept up pretty well. Oops, some dips here in the ground. Bunch of staple crops being grown there. In this building to the right, I'm pretty sure is going to be a reconstruction of his birth cabin, which, like I say, was also the kitchen. Take a walk in there. Read this real quick. And talks about his mother, who, like I say, was the cook, how she one night had snuck away a chicken and made them a big meal one evening. Walk in here, it looks like some sort of little cellar door. I guess you kept things cool down there. Yeah, wow. So his mother and 3 children lived in here. That's pretty crazy. At least it feels a little bit cooler in here. Back out here. Okay, so this would be the smokehouse. And all your meats would be hanging up there off the hooks. And some blacksmith tools back there. And over here marked off was the site of the actual cabin he was born in. All right, there's some people over there, so I'm gonna, well, they're leaving, so I'll walk over here. And to continue my story, so he made it out to Hampton, attended school, graduated, and he was selected by the dean to be the principal at the Tuskegee Institute. So he was like, cool. And then he gets out there, and then he was told, you got to build the school. So he and the students built brick by brick the Tuskegee Institute. And yeah, it talks about how as a child he would feed the animals boiled corn. As you can imagine, a pretty nice smell over here. Right over there. Yeah, the guy's chilling. Ugh. Yeah, it smells pretty gross. All right, walk over here.
They're over there.
Yeah, I can say some sheep over here. This might be a horse stable, I'm guessing. Find out. Do not pet or feed the animals. Yeah. Pretty cool. Walk over here. Yeah, it's a horse stable. See some supplies back there. And like I said, this is an active farm. Walk up, look at these sheep. Eh. Take a look at this. And then over here is the corn crib. The Booker T Trail starts here. All right, I'll walk down here. And just a few pictures up along the trail here. This shows him walking in that salt mine. Yeah, kind of the same thing there. So, while at Tuskegee, he went on a speaking tour across the north to help raise money to continue to build the institute. And like I had said, one of his biggest donors was Andrew Carnegie. And then that culminated into his big event, the big speech in Atlanta. Like I said, it was kind of controversial. Some people call it the Atlanta Compromise. And Yeah, so some of the black leaders in the North kind of thought of him as an Uncle Tom because he was so willing to compromise. For example, W.E.B. Du Bois was one of his most outspoken critics. And W. Du Bois grew up in Massachusetts, and he was in favor of kind of just sudden reform, and criticized Booker T. Washington for his kind of slow progress. But Booker T. Washington was kind of like, hey, you're not from the South. You were never a slave. You don't have a practical understanding of what's going on down here. First of all, if you came down with these militant ideas of sudden change, that's not going to work. You're probably going to set things back. And he was kind of like, you've got to know how to play the game. So because Booker T. Washington was for the advancement, obviously, of blacks, but he would also appease Southern white politicians who mostly were former slave owners by kind of agreeing to segregation, things like that. But in the background, he was donating to funds to help get the black vote and to just for the advancement of black people. So he kind of had the same goals as W.E.B. Du Bois, but he was kind of for like the slow game, I guess. All right, made it down here to the end of the plantation trail, or the jack-o'-lantern trail. And this is a tobacco barn. Old cart to haul some tobacco. Yeah, pretty pitch black in here. Show the other side. Pretty large barn. And I'm not going to walk this jack-o'-lantern trail. I think it's just a hiking trail, but I'll just go up and take a look at this sign. Yeah, so a map of the trail. Like I say, we're right here. This is the jack-o'-lantern trail. So just, yeah, hiking trail through the woods. Yeah, so I don't need to walk that, but and service road cuts to the right. So, all right, I'm gonna head up to the grounds. I think there were a couple of buildings I wasn't able to take a look at. All right, looping back around. And to let you know, he died, like I said earlier, 1915. Suffered from a lot of medical issues, high blood pressure, had diabetes. Ended up dying, passing away of heart failure, died up in New York. And he wanted to be sent down south. He said, I was born in the South, raised in the South, lived in the South. I wanted to be buried in the South. So he was taken back and buried in a cemetery near Tuskegee. So, all right, just a small, I think this is gonna be a blacksmith shop. I'll take a look at that. And your furnace over there, your blower right behind it, all your grinding wheels and anvil, all your usual stuff. So, yeah, like I say, this is kind of a smaller plantation. Backside of the reconstructed cabin. And I think I had missed it, but his original cabin that he was born in, the kitchen, was right over there, and I think to the left of it was actually where the big house was. So his cabin was really close, I guess because it was the kitchen to the big house. So walking back by the site of his birth house, look how small that is. His birth cabin, I should say. 3 people in that, and that was the kitchen. In the big house, it's not marked off, but the big house was kind of right here, according to the map. See a duck right there. Check out these pens. Not sure what animals are in there. And I guess it's just for the ducks, or is there chickens back here? I guess the gate's open, so. Yeah, I see white feathers, so I guess it's kind of a duck roost. Have to look up to see what this is. What's back here? Oh, chickens. Wow. Pretty fat bird right there. There's another one back there, strutting. And I hear some more. Okay, last thing I'm going to check out the Burroughs Family Cemetery. Then I'm going to get out of here. All right, so Burroughs Family Cemetery, and looking a lot of like a lot of unmarked graves. All right, you can walk in over here. And Billy, son of James and Elizabeth Burroughs, born 1825, or is it 1835? Can't tell, but killed in Culpeper. So he must have died in the war, yeah. 1863. And there's James, family patriarch, born 1791, died, like I say, just after the Civil War. And yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. That's it. Yeah, Booker T. Washington National Monument. Pretty good place to visit. We're out in the middle of nowhere. It's not too busy. It's free. Just let you know, I'm down here for a couple days. Tomorrow, I'm gonna visit the Avenel Plantation. Just kind of a smaller house in Bedford. And yeah, so always, if you want to see more videos like this, like and subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram and support me on Patreon.